Brought to you by Penguin.
Inheritocracy. It's time to talk about the Bank of Mum and Dad. Written and read by Eliza Filby.
For my mother, for the best type of inheritance, an example. And for Christian, Chaplin, and Amaryllis, for bringing meaning to it all. Time and family are part of the same thing, really. The generation is the actual unit of time by which humanity lives. James Meek. Chapter 1. Inheritocracy, the family tree. We were in the living room of the house that he had inherited from his parents. Perched in the only armchair that still offered comfort, my father rested his leg on a cushion in front of the open fire. "Press record, let's get started," he said. I was his middle daughter and had a PhD in history, two useful distinctions for the urgent task of recording the Filby family story, before it was lost. When he had first been diagnosed the previous year, I'd pledged to interview him about his past. But as hospital visits took their toll on both of us, I'd been pregnant with my first child, it stretched into something we said we really must do, rather than something we did. And then suddenly, it was now or never. So we sat together, ready to climb the family tree. My father's voice was weak. Sometimes it drifted away entirely. Sometimes he would screech as spasms of pain took hold. "Whiskey," he whispered. "Get me whiskey. You know Sinatra always had a jar before a big show," he smirked. I poured him a thimbleful, and sipping, he returned to his story about my great-grandfather's horse and cart grocery business during the Great Depression. It was mostly about the horse. Largely untouched by 2 world wars or migration, unless you count a move from Bermondsey to Tooting, my family have lived in South London for 2 centuries, and in the same house for 80 years. And perhaps this is what made us distinct, our consistency, especially as Londoners. These recordings, which 6 years on I find impossible to listen to, had to be done, in my father's words, so that the Filby family history would not go with him. But in his telling, there was a lack of spontaneity, verve and joy that should naturally accompany such childhood reminiscences and family legends. I wasn't fully present either. My attention divided between my restless 1-year-old son rattling around in his playpen and my racing mind preoccupied with the morbid realization that before long I'd be telling my son stories of a grandfather he had never known. I'd always assumed that facing death freed you from your past. But in my father's case, it was the opposite. He was obsessed with his childhood and catalogued possessions in the house he had lived in his entire life. What was meaningful, what was worth holding on to, and what could be flogged on that auction site. But in telling his tale and the various tentacles of our family history, my father had a particular aim. He was not seeking to preserve the memories of those long gone. Rather, he was slotting himself into that timeline. It was about legacy. And these stories, like all family trees, had roots that are deeply interwoven within the grand sweep of history. It was, in short, an inheritance. We live in an inheritance economy. If you're under 45, your life chances and opportunities are increasingly determined by your access to the Bank of Mum and Dad, and not by what you earn or learn. And that's rather than a meritocracy, where hard work pays off. We live in an inheritocracy, where family wealth catalyses success. The Bank of Mum and Dad dominates our economic system, and especially our property market, operating best for those who can lean on parental support. Family wealth is now, more than ever, the condition for opportunity. You know it when you see it. It's your friend who never took out a student loan, had their rent subsidised, or who suddenly acquires the deposit for a flat. It's those who enjoy luxurious holidays in their 20s and 30s, multi-generational jaunts paid for by their parents. It's the friends who had the safety net of staying with mum and dad while they saved, upskilled, or had a quarter-life crisis. But that's the stuff you can see.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?